I'm 68. I'll never travel to these 5 places alone again. Here's why. Have you ever caught yourself staring at a map, heart full of wanderlust, but your mind quietly whispering, can I really go there alone? You're not alone in that feeling. Traveling is one of life's greatest joys. Seeing new places, tasting unfamiliar food, meeting people you never would have crossed paths with otherwise. But as we get older, travel becomes a little more complicated. It's not just about packing the right shoes or remembering your passport anymore. It's about safety, health, comfort, and knowing that where you're going and how you're going won't put you at unnecessary risk. The truth is, after 65, our needs change. Our reflexes slow a bit, our bodies aren't quite as forgiving, and sometimes even just navigating a busy airport can feel like a workout. That doesn't mean you have to stop exploring. It just means we need to be smarter about it. Because some places, while beautiful and tempting, simply aren't suited for solo travel once you reach a certain age. And knowing that can save you from unexpected stress, or worse, serious danger. So today, let's talk heart to heart. This video isn't here to scare you, it's here to empower you. We're going to walk through 5 places that seniors over 65 should think twice about visiting alone. Not because you can't handle it, but because you deserve better. And don't worry, we'll also talk about some wonderful alternatives. Places where you can still soak up adventure, beauty, and culture without compromising your safety or peace of mind. Let's start with a tough one. Remote mountain regions in high-altitude countries. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Alps, the Andes, the Himalayas. These places are breathtaking, literally and figuratively. But that's just the thing. High-altitude travel can be dangerous for anyone, but especially for those over 65. Your body just doesn't adjust to thin air the way it used to. Even if you're in good shape, you're at higher risk for altitude sickness, dizziness, dehydration, and sudden spikes in blood pressure. And let's not forget, medical help is often hours away, if available at all. What makes it worse is how unpredictable high-altitude symptoms can be. You might feel fine for a day, and then suddenly you're lightheaded, disoriented, or short of breath. Alone, that's terrifying. And without someone to keep an eye on you, things can go downhill fast. But here's the good news. You can still enjoy the majesty of the mountains without putting yourself in harm's way. Instead of remote, high-elevation treks, consider places like Lake Louise in Canada or the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. These destinations give you that crisp air, that sweeping mountain view, and that peaceful stillness. But they're also accessible. They have nearby hospitals, guided tours, and are much easier on your heart and lungs. You can sip tea on a balcony overlooking a valley, or take a gentle tram ride to a scenic overlook. No hiking boots required. Now let's talk about a place that surprises a lot of people. Overcrowded urban cities in unfamiliar countries. Big cities can be thrilling. Think Bangkok, Istanbul, or Sao Paulo. So much life, color, movement. But traveling there solo, especially for the first time and especially after 65, can bring more anxiety than adventure. Why? Because when you were navigating unfamiliar streets alone, especially in a language you don't speak, you become more vulnerable. Scams, pickpockets, confusing transit systems. These are challenges for anyone, but they hit harder when you're on your own. It's not about being fearful. It's about being realistic. Things like slippery sidewalks, endless stairs in metro stations, or getting lost in a maze of alleyways. They can turn a fun afternoon into a stressful ordeal. And if your phone dies, or you get turned around in a place where GPS barely works, who's there to help? But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the buzz of a city. Try going somewhere senior-friendly and well-organized, like Copenhagen, Vienna, or even Savannah, Georgia. These cities are walkable, safe, clean, and most importantly, accommodating to older travelers. They have guided walking tours, accessible public transport, and friendly locals who won't hesitate to lend a hand. You get the culture, the food, the art, without the chaos. And if you ever do need help, it's right there, not miles away in a hospital that may or may not understand you. Next, let's touch on something people don't talk about enough. Remote tropical islands with poor infrastructure. Yes, I know, the dream, sipping something cold on a beach with your feet in the sand, listening to the waves roll in. But the reality is often far less glamorous. Many of these destinations lack proper roads, reliable medical facilities, or even basic things like air conditioning or clean drinking water. If you're in your 30s, you might laugh it off. But when you're in your 60s or 70s, getting a stomach bug or heat stroke in the middle of nowhere isn't just unpleasant, it can be dangerous. And let's be honest, flying into a tiny airport, taking a bumpy boat ride, and then hiking to your lodge. It sounds exciting until your knees start complaining, or your suitcase gets dropped in the ocean, or there's no cell service when you need to call for help. But you can still get that island feel without putting yourself in a risky situation. Places like Maui, Hawaii, or the Canary Islands off the coast of Spain offer that same turquoise water, swaying palms, and gentle breeze, but with good hospitals, stable electricity, and reliable internet. You can stroll the beach, enjoy a sunset cruise, or just nap in a hammock, knowing you're safe, supported, and never truly alone. It all comes down to this: you deserve to travel in a way that feels joyful, not stressful. You've spent a lifetime working, helping others, pushing through challenges. Now it's your turn to explore the world on your terms, comfortably, safely, and with all the magic that travel can bring, just without the worry that something might go wrong when no one's around to notice. Let's keep going, because there's more to unpack. We've looked at mountains, megacities, and islands, but there are still a few more places that might look tempting on paper, but come with hidden risks that aren't worth tackling alone. Now let's talk about a place that feels adventurous at first glance, but can become overwhelming fast: politically unstable or conflict-prone regions. You might not plan to go anywhere near danger zones, but it's easy to be caught off guard. Sometimes what looks like a peaceful, off-the-beaten-path country in a travel brochure can shift quickly due to protests, strikes, or unrest. And if you're traveling solo, especially in retirement, you might not have the resources or the backup you need if things take a turn. Even something as simple as a canceled flight or a closed border can create panic when you're by yourself, in a place where English isn't widely spoken and support systems are minimal. Not to mention, seniors may be seen as easier targets for scams or theft during times of chaos. And let's be honest, when tensions rise, authorities don't always prioritize tourists, especially if you're far from a major embassy or consulate. But here's the thing: you can still experience deep culture, stunning architecture, and that sense of exploration you're craving in destinations with stable governments, strong tourism infrastructure, and clear travel advisories. Consider places like Portugal, New Zealand, or even the Canadian Maritimes. These spots offer rich history, breathtaking landscapes, and warm, welcoming locals. And best of all, they've been consistently ranked among the safest places for travelers of all ages. You can stroll through charming villages, explore coastal cliffs, or even hop on a river cruise, all without constantly looking over your shoulder or worrying about sudden unrest. Now let's shift gears and talk about one more place that might surprise you: areas with extreme weather conditions. This could be blazing desert heat, freezing Arctic winds, or anything in between. Why is this such a big deal? Because as we age, our bodies don't regulate temperature the way they used to. Heat stroke can set in faster. Hypothermia can creep up more easily, and both can be incredibly dangerous, especially if you're alone and no one's around to notice the warning signs. Picture this: you're wandering through a historic desert town under a blazing sun. The scenery is gorgeous. You feel a little tired, but you push through. Then you start to feel lightheaded. You reach for your water, but it's warm and half empty. There's no shade nearby, no one around. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a peaceful solo adventure turns into a desperate situation. Or maybe you've always dreamed of seeing the Northern Lights, so you head to a remote, icy destination. The roads are slick, visibility is poor, and your joints start to ache from the cold. Then your phone battery drains faster in the freezing temperature, and you're stuck without GPS or a way to call for help. These aren't dramatic what-ifs. They're common stories from travelers who didn't realize how quickly extreme weather can change the game, especially after 65. But don't let the elements steal your sense of adventure. Instead of heading into the extremes alone, choose temperate climates with built-in support. Think about the Amalfi Coast in Italy during spring, or the Pacific Northwest in early summer. You get the gorgeous scenery, the fresh air, and the slower pace, without the risk of passing out from heat or slipping on ice. You can wander, relax, and enjoy the views with a city or in a small group where someone always knows your name and your emergency contact. What really matters here is understanding the difference between bold travel and smart travel. You've earned the right to explore without fear, but that doesn't mean you have to do it all by yourself. Travel isn't a test of toughness, it's a celebration of life. And life, especially after 65, is far too precious to be gambled on high-risk destinations with no safety net. And here's a gentle reminder. There's no shame in choosing comfort, convenience, or company over chaos. In fact, it's a sign of wisdom. Knowing your limits isn't giving up. It's leveling up. It's traveling with intention, with joy, and with the awareness that the best trips aren't measured by how wild they are, but by how they make you feel long after you've come home. The good news? There are countless places that are perfect for older solo travelers. Beautiful, engaging, and safe. And we'll get to those very soon. But before we do, there's one more important point we need to explore. It's not a destination, exactly. It's more of a mindset trap, one that can lure even the most seasoned travelers into risky situations, especially when traveling alone. So take a deep breath, grab a sip of water, and settle in, because this last one might just be the most important yet. Let's talk about that last trap, because it isn't a location you'll find on a map. It's more like a blind spot, especially common for independent, experienced travelers. I'm talking about the idea of, I've been there before, I'll be fine. It might be a city you visited in your 40s, a national park you hiked back in your 50s, or even a foreign country where you once felt completely at home. The temptation is to go back solo, thinking it'll be just like before. But time changes everything. Streets get busier, trails grow more challenging, and our bodies don't always cooperate the way they used to. You might find yourself somewhere familiar, yes, but suddenly struggling with luggage you used to carry with ease, navigating public transportation that now feels confusing, or feeling unexpectedly vulnerable when a flight gets delayed or a hotel reservation disappears. The comfort of the past can lull us into underestimating what we need now. And here's the truth many don't say out loud. When you're over 65, your safety net isn't just about physical health, it's also about emotional well-being. Traveling alone might have once felt like freedom, but now it can sometimes feel like isolation. You might sit at a beautiful cafe, watching the world go by, and still feel a little lonely. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, acknowledging that is part of choosing travel experiences that enrich you, mind, body, and heart. That's why instead of revisiting an old destination solo and hoping for the same experience, think about going back with a new approach. Join a guided travel group designed for seniors. They handle the logistics, flights, hotels, transportation, so you can focus on the joy of rediscovery. You'll still see the sights you love, but now with companions who move at your pace, share your interests, and maybe even become lifelong friends. It's not a step down from solo travel. It's a step toward connection. And if group tours aren't your style, that's okay too. Consider traveling with a grandchild, a close friend, or even hiring a local guide to walk with you, translate, and offer help along the way. You're not giving up independence. You're upgrading the experience to include support and safety. Traveling smarter doesn't mean you have to give up on dreams. It means crafting them differently. And the beautiful part is, once you start making choices that truly fit where you are in life, travel becomes less about proving something and more about fully enjoying every moment. Now, let's take a breath and reflect for a second. We've talked about high-altitude mountains, crowded, unfamiliar cities, remote islands without proper infrastructure, unstable political regions, and the trap of revisiting familiar places without support. Each of these comes with real risks, not because you're fragile, but because your health, your time, and your peace of mind are worth protecting. But here's the most important thing to remember. This isn't about fear. It's about freedom, the kind that comes from being aware of your needs and planning ahead so that every trip brings more joy than stress. Because yes, there are places you shouldn't go alone anymore, but there are so many places you absolutely should still go. Think slow river cruises through France or the Netherlands. Think quiet coastal towns where you can sip coffee and watch fishing boats drift by. Think national parks with accessible trails, or charming historical towns with guided tours and cozy inns. These aren't lesser adventures. They're just a better fit for who you are now. And you deserve that. You deserve comfort. You deserve safety. You deserve laughter, discovery, and beauty, without the constant worry of, what if something goes wrong? And when you travel smart, you get all of that and more. If this video has given you something to think about, I'm so glad. Maybe you're reconsidering an upcoming trip, or maybe you're feeling more confident about choosing the right place to explore next. Whatever the case, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever traveled alone and run into unexpected trouble? Or maybe you found a destination that felt just right, safe, enriching, and perfect for your pace. Share it in the comments. Your story might just inspire someone else. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. It really helps the channel reach more people like you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button too, so you don't miss out on more helpful content like this. We're building a community of smart, joyful seniors who know that life doesn't end at 65. In many ways, it's just getting started. So here's to your next journey. May it be safe, fulfilling, and exactly what your heart needs. Whether you travel near or far, solo or with someone by your side, remember, the world is still waiting for you, and you're never too old to go see it. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If this video gave you something to think about or made you smile, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom every week. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and join the conversation. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Until next time, stay wise, stay kind, and take care.